Alright. Been a while since I uploaded in the daytime, but I thought I'd try this out. So I'm going to be calling this Movie Spotlight. I'm going to look at movies that I thought aren't really getting the respect they deserve. I don't know why I said it like that. But just movies I think that were good that kind of got swept under the rug. Nobody's really paying any, if all, attention to these movies. I just feel like they're good movies and nobody talks about them. That's easier said. That's the easiest way to say it. So I have my little notepad here. I had to take notes on it. Name of the movie is Rover. It was released in 2014, so about 6 years ago. It's starring Guy Pearce. Directed by a guy. I don't know how to say his last name, so I'm just gonna say. I'll put it in the description, I guess. His first name is David. Hey, don't. I know people are saying you can't say his last. Look, man, all of us haven't graduated high school, okay? So, the only name that'll stick out is Robert Patterson of Twilight fame. And I feel like people love to hate that movie. I personally didn't watch it, or if I did, I think I watched the second in that series and wasn't impressed. I can agree with you there. I might have to watch it again just for myself. It might change my opinion on it, because I felt a certain way about the Hunger Games as well, and after it became readily available through TV networks, I fell in love with the Hunger Games. So I guess I have to go back and see what Twilight does for me now. But anyway, so this was an Australian film. I Googled it. I probably should have did a little bit more research, but when I Googled it, nothing really came up as far as the American Oscars, but the Australian Oscars, I guess. It received Best Supporting Actress. It got sound. It was nominated for everything, of course, but it looks like it only took home 2 awards. Runtime is about 1 hour and 42 minutes. I guess I'll just get into all my little notes up here. I guess I'll just get into why I think this movie is good. So, first off, it's an Australian movie, and there's hints of Mad Max everywhere, because it's kind of like when Mad Max came out. It was kind of like it's supposed to be in the future, but it's not really. It's kind of like what reality is, because it's the year 2020 and we're supposed to have flying cars by now, but obviously we don't. So it's kind of like it's the future, but it's not the future at the same time. So I'm trying to compare the two. So I'm thinking, yeah, it has kind of like it's kind of like more reality based. So it follows, but it is a dystopia. Like, the world has gone to shit. So it follows the main character. It starts out with the main. I think he was taking a leak. I think he was on the side of the road taking a leak or something like that. And there was a shootout behind him, and they passed by him, got into an accident, and decided to rob him of his car at gunpoint. But the lead actor puts up a hell of a fight, and one of the robbers poses a question: "Why in the hell are you fighting so much for this car?" Of course, that comes back later on in the movie. So they wind up, beating him unconscious. They take his car, they drive off, and it happens to be a pretty good car. If anybody's into cars, in America, it would be a G8 or a Pontiac G8, which is discontinued as far as I know, or a Chevy SS, just SS. I think they're all the same cars, but in Australia, I think they're Holdens or something like that. So it's a pretty fast car. It sounds really good. So yeah, they take off, and then the chase begins. The main character follows them through small towns, I mean, there's little snippets here and there. So, I guess the first encounter they have, he needs the main character needs a weapon, of course, right? So he goes into this small town and he sees a midget. Tries to buy a gun from a midget. I'm laughing. I'm sorry, but midgets are funny. Tries to get the gun from the midget. The midget's like, well, he gives him a price. He's like, I don't have that much. He's like, well, you ain't got a gun. So he shoots the midget in the head. That turned quick, right? They continue on. They run into a woman who she's like the only doctor within miles or something like that. And turns out she was a veterinarian. She was a veterinarian, not a doctor, not a physician for humans, but a veterinarian. So she has some medical training, and she's using that to help people. That gives you an idea of how messed up, almost cussed, of how messed up this particular world is. Now, her only protector, is a blind man holding a lever action rifle, or was it a bolt action rifle? One of the two. Very slow, but it can still kill. But it is very slow, especially in the hands of a blind man. All right, he gets shot in the head because the midget's buddies are coming to look for the guy who just shot the midget. So while that's happening, Robert Patterson and his group of guys. Robert Patterson also plays somebody slow in this movie, which, you know, say what you want to. So they are like running. They tried to rob somebody, but I think one of their partners got killed, so they didn't wind up getting as much money as they wanted to. So basically, they're just following the plan out through fruition. They're jumping from safe house to safe house at this point. They're trying to divvy up the money or whatever, trying to talk. But all the time, this guy's still chasing them. And he winds up finding another vehicle, trying to run them off the road. No, you know what happened? After the accident and the shootout, and they stole the main character's car, he wakes up and hops back in the truck that they left in the ditch. He gets it out and continues to follow him. He's looking for him. He's a man on a mission, I tell you that. So what happens after that? So they meet the midget, and the veterinarian guy her protector gets killed. Okay, you're gonna have to forgive me. I'm trying to remember. So after they do that, I think I'm drawing a. Oh, well, Robert Pattinson character can't stand up to his brother. His brother is one of the members in the crew, and they're like pushing around, and they get into those guys get into another shootout with like the military / police at this time, and he gets injured, and they just leave him there for dead, which is like, oh, come on, man. They had already built up the fact that nobody in the crew had respect for him, for his character. So yeah, let me see how to do something right quick. I'll just do that. That'll work. Oh, give me a second, guys and gals. So yeah, they leave him for dead, but he still has his weapon on him. He still has plenty of ammunition and plenty of money because they just got done divvying up all the prizes or loot. I don't know why am I talking like a pirate? They just got done divvying up all the money they got from the last job, but they left him for dead. And lo and behold, the main character finds him. They don't become best buddies, but they work together. He decides to stand up to his brother. They finally catch up to these guys in like a safe house. They catch them in the morning when they're asleep. He walks in there. He gets everybody into the living room, the main character. And the dude's sitting there. Oh yeah, I forget. The guy who plays Robert Pattinson's brother does a great job of conveying his emotion I was like, what are you doing? We're fucking brothers. Why are you doing this? What is wrong with you, man? What are you doing this for? Everybody in there winds up dying. Yeah, there's a lot of death in this movie. I don't know why. I don't necessarily like it because of the death, but I like it because somebody could be driven to it. I feel like any and everybody could be driven to that level of violence. So I think I can't remember exactly what happens to Robert Patterson's character, but I guess that's good if anybody decides to watch it. I guess that's good, so you won't know. You'll know the most of the movie now that I've pretty much. I wouldn't call it a spoiler because hey, it is what it is. Um, but the end of the movie comes up, and he gets back in his car. First thing he does, he checks the trunk. What's in the trunk? What's in the trunk, you might ask? It's his dead dog. So this guy went all across these cities and these counties chasing these people for his car for his dead dog. Now that probably, me saying that probably ruined the movie for anybody who hasn't seen it, because you get some type of like there's some type of reaction that's churned up inside you when you see it, when that's revealed. That's the reason why. And it's also brought up earlier in the film that he has a wife and a kid and a dog, but due to the fact that it's a post-apocalyptic style environment, everything's dead, and his dog was probably the last link he had to his family, last type of normalcy he had. And even if it's dead, I'm not going to allow you to take it away from me, which I think makes it good. Now, should this movie be put on a pedestal as one of the greatest movies ever made? No. But I think it deserves a watch. It's one of the better movies that I've watched. I'll say that. So, I think I'm going to continue to do this next week. I will put out another video on some other movie that I find. And you guys want to see an upload from me for several days. Hey, I need a break too.